Hey guys, this is my first video out and about, so forgive me if there's any difficulties or anything. I'm in the garage right now and it's very echoey, so forgive me for the audio. And today, we're going to be spray painting this safe because although gender stereotypes mean nothing, but you have to admit, this thing has flowers on it. It is pink, it says My Little Secret right here on the safe. And so you have to admit, it looks like it has been made for a 5-year-old, and I'm 14. So I'm gonna make it look like a cool teenager safe. And with these, we are going to do that. So, I have two different types of spray paint. I have black spray paint and I have silver spray paint. I think I'm going to do the black because we already have a bit of silver here. And then we have the blue here. I'm gonna keep the blue because I like blue and blue's a good color. So we no longer need this. And what we're gonna do here is I have some tape here and I'm just gonna tape it up a little bit around here to make sure I don't get any spray paint on here. And then we're just gonna go for it. I have a bunch of newspaper, as you can see here. Nothing's gonna get on the floor. I prepared. I'm wearing a shirt and everything that I don't really care about. So if you're gonna do this at home, make sure you've prepared for it.
Stephanie.
That's fine. And while I'm doing this, I'm just gonna talk. You know, what day is it today? I think it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday today. I have top surgery in 2 days. So that's fun. I'm gonna have to wake up. I don't have to actually wake up early on that day because my surgery is at 12:30. My surgery is at 12:30. So that's very, very nice and convenient. I'm very happy about that. You know, I was thinking about doing a weird things about being trans video, but I can just do that now while I'm doing this. Weird things about being trans, yay. Let's see. And this is a totally original idea, by the way. It totally is not 50 million people who have already done this. You get so dysphoric about the weirdest things. Like, obviously there's the normal stuff about, like, you know, genitalia and titties and things like that. But then you get dysphoric about like your foot size, and I'm not dysphoric about my hands, but some people are dysphoric about their hands. I'm kind of dysphoric about my face shape, which sounds so weird because people come in all different sizes and shapes and face shapes, but I am specifically dysphoric about my face shape. Maybe it's just because I'm young and all trans guys I see are like a little bit older, but I am dysphoric about my face shape and my legs. God, I have thick legs. My mom does too. I got that from my dear, dear mother. Thanks, Mom. My legs are, they're big. I am dysphoric about my legs. And and again, I'm not saying that all of this is completely reasonable because people come in, again, all different shapes and sizes, and every person is valid regardless of how their body looks compared to their gender identity. But when you get dysphoric, you get dysphoric. By the way, gender dysphoria there's gender dysphoria and there's body dysphoria, and they usually go hand in hand. And it's basically a disconnect between you and your gender assigned at birth or your sex assigned at birth, or it is a feeling of disconnect with you and your body because you identify differently than how your body is. And so I have both gender dysphoria and body dysphoria, so that's a lot of fun. I love that so much. Let's see, you overcompensate a lot. And what I mean by that is I overcompensate for being masculine. When I was at boarding school, I repressed anything that could be remotely feminine about me. And so it's kind of coming out now. Not that I consider myself an overly feminine person. Yeah, I would overcompensate. I would use language that I would normally use just to like fit in. I feel like that's pretty universal with all teenagers. But for specifically masculinity, I would like totally overcompensate. I walk differently when I'm in different places just because I'm dysphoric about my legs. It's strange, and you don't necessarily, it's not necessarily reasonable, but you just do a lot of weird stuff when you're trying to overcompensate for certain things. As I said, I'll use different language, I'll walk differently, I will wear different clothes based on who I'm going to see that day. Like, it's a lot, and that's just part of being a trans, I guess. And I've heard that this goes down a lot once you kind of fully transition and you pass all the time. But I do not pass all the time, believe it or not. As I said, I got misgendered many times at the hospital by people who didn't really even see my paperwork that had a big F on it for female. So, you know, things come and things go, and hopefully all the things that are going to be going away from me are female body parts. Yay! So I have covered this up now. You can see it's completely blue with the tape. So now, I guess I'm just gonna paint it. I have a little slot in here for coins, but I taped that up so that nothing gets inside. Let's test it a little bit. Seems to be working. Okay. There we go. So it's getting kind of fumy in here. So I am going to put on my mask, because, you know, why the hell not? It's there, I have it, you know, makes sense. These fumes are not healthy. And there you have it. That is a spray painted safe. Now, something just occurred to me. The inside is still pink, and the bottom is still pink. You know, this is fine. This is fine. I'm going to take this. And there you have it, folks. That is one black safe. I'm pretty happy with myself about this. I'm not a very DIY type person, but that's what the people want, right? People want DIY. This is what you want. You want this. You want DIY.
Stephanie.
Right? I'm gonna leave this here to dry. I'll probably do the inside. Ooh, it'd be cool if I could do the inside like gray. Not gray. It'd be cool if I could do the inside with the silver. My sister suggested that I do silver and black, but I decided to do black because, you know, I'm an edgy teenager. But I could do silver on the inside once this dries. So, I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, I'm back. I did some touch-ups on some places that needed touching up, and then I literally just left it alone. So I have not seen this since I left you guys before. It looks pretty matte, pretty black, just how I wanted it. There are some places that I still want to touch up, so I'll do that later. It's okay. So now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take off all of this tape stuff that I do not need anymore. On the thing here, I'm going to be taking this off the lock. I don't know if it's technically a lock or whatever, but I don't really care. It seems that the gray part not the gray part, the metallic part around the lock got a little bit of black paint on it. That's interesting. Actually, it looks kind of cool, so I think I'm gonna keep that. And now I'm gonna put in my code to get it to open. There we go. It seems that didn't quite go all the way inside like I had hoped, which is kind of my fault because I didn't open the door to spray the black inside. So now I'm going to be putting the metallic spray paint on. And to do that, I'm going to tape basically this whole front part. And the actual locking mechanism. You know, going back to what I was talking about earlier, about the weird things about being trans, my completely original idea, another thing that's just kind of strange, just an observation, is that when you come out, it changes the way people interact with you. And it changes the way that people that, like, strangers interact with you. You know, for instance, like, just waiters at a restaurant, of course there's the distinction of calling you, like, sir instead of ma'am, or ma'am instead of sir, or not even anything at all if you're non-binary, which hopefully would happen, but unfortunately a lot of times doesn't. And it's just interesting because, especially when I came out of my school was very accepting. This wasn't at the boarding school, this was at a school I was before because I came out 2 years ago. People just kind of treated me differently. The girls acted more distanced. The guys didn't really know what to do, actually. It was kind of funny. It was the same way at my boarding school because, and this is just kind of the culture that it was, but people would make extremely sexual jokes at my boarding school, and the guys would be like humping each other and just being generally just inappropriate. And they would, as I said, it would be kind of like physical with it. I was never part of one of those jokes, like ever. And I guess it's because, you know, one, I was giving off the vibe that I don't want to be part of that, but also and a friend of mine, my roommate, told me this later as well. They kind of had an unspoken rule. You know, I was just not going to be involved in those jokes. Like they'd pull the shower curtain aside, which I'm very grateful that I was not part of that, because if somebody would have done that, if I'm being completely honest, there wouldn't have been any thought process at all. It would have just been a kick to the balls. So, and that's not anything personal. It's just, you know, people are seeing things I do not want them to see. So, you know, long story short, don't pull people's shower curtains aside. I feel like that's a pretty good rule of thumb in life. I feel like that's just kind of considerate and kind of just a good rule to follow in general. Just my 2 cents. And of course, it changes the way that your family interacts with you as well, because, you know, at first, they don't really know what's going on, especially if your family has, like, not really had any experiences with this kind of stuff before, with anybody who's been transgender before. You know, they probably won't know what to do, and that's understandable. And in that case, if you feel like there's some sort of, like, you know, disconnect there, I encourage you, of course it's hard, but to talk to them about it, because, you know, people always say it, but it's actually pretty true, is that honest and open communication is, like, the best thing in the world. And I'm not, like, exaggerating here at all, really. It helps you, it helps them, and it helps everybody just be a lot less uncomfortable. Not that this should be a thing that people are uncomfortable about, but the truth is that people are, you know? Open and honest communication kind of slaps. I hate that I said that. I have added so many new words to my vocabulary in boarding school. I'm trying to get rid of them, but they refuse to leave, like lit and slaps and gas. Not to say that anybody who does say those things is bad in any way, but they aren't me. It's the boarding school talking, okay? It's the boarding school talking. Okay. I have the outside done. So now I just need to go further into the outside. because I don't want my black to get messed up, because that would be very sad, because I worked very hard on it. So I've done the outside, and you'll see that I did a little bit of thing on the top just to keep where the coin slot is, just to keep that secure. I'm going to be using this metallic type thing, spray paint. So let's just see how it goes. I'm gonna test it. Oh, that's very nice. Okay, let's go. Cool. Forgot my mask. Put my mask on. It can get very fumey, just so you know. I had to like air it out. I had to air this out with this door. I had to like swing open and close the door a bunch of times to be able to get the fumes out. So make sure that you're not getting poisoned by the stinky spray paint fumes if you decide to do this. Oof, you can see it. I don't know if you can see it. I can see it. So I'm doing it inside now. You can see that it's kind of getting there. I'm trying not to get anything on the floor. Oops. So now I'm just gonna do an overlay on here. That was not well aimed. Going over a little bit onto the black side, which I of course don't want. Wow. I think this turned out pretty good. You can see it's all there on the inside. I'm gonna do a little bit of that. Make sure it didn't go over. It did. Oops. It's not gonna be perfect. I don't expect it to be. As I've said before, I am no expert in the ways of DIY, so have mercy. It's not gonna be perfect. Deal with it. Okay. So I'm gonna, again, leave this to dry. Actually, I'm gonna take off the tape first, is what I'm gonna do. Oh man. Oh, looks like I'm gonna have to do that again. When I pulled off the tape, it pulled off a little bit of the paint around the My Secret Safe thing. It's upside down, but you can see it just kind of pulled it off there. I'm going to have to repaint that later. I don't know if I'm gonna get that on video, but oops. Just hope that doesn't happen again. This tape, I think it's painter's tape, I'm pretty sure, but this tape is like the papery kind of tape, so I would suggest if you plan to do this with like metal or something, like use this kind of tape, because it's not gonna, most of the time, it's not gonna pull the paint off if you're putting it on something that was freshly painted to paint a new layer or something like that. And I'm saying this like I'm a professional, and I'm not. By a long shot, I am not. So don't take my advice on anything, you know? Don't listen to me. Dude, please don't listen to me. And the thing off the top, that worked out well. And now I just have to wait. It's just a waiting game now. I obviously made a big mess. Thankfully, none of it is permanent. Thank you for joining me on my journey of my safe. It's been bothering me for a while, and I'm glad that I finally took the initiative to actually paint it. I'll do a fun reel or whatever of the result. And until next time, it's your boy Benjamin. Goodbye.